What's up, San Antonio Sparce fans? My name is Indomitable Will, and I am so excited to bring you our debut in the Pokemon Premier League. We're coming in hot, but will we burn bright or go out in a blaze of glory? Only time will tell. So, we were split into two 14-man divisions, with the Bolt Division largely consisting of European time zones, and the Flare Division largely consisting of North American time zones. These are our opponents for the season, and there will only be crossover in playoffs. So we were in two separate draft pools, meaning we were in a pool of 14, and it was a snake-style draft, and we had the 9th pick of the draft. That pretty much meant we were smack dab in the middle. Something interesting is a lot of the top mons, Palafin, Iron Valiant, Chien-Pao, Dragapult, all of those mons were banned. And that means with 9th pick, our first pick of the draft was Walking Wake. And Walking Wake, I think this mon is an absolute menace, especially after the DLC, where it picked up a couple of useful tools such as Scald, Knockoff, Weather Ball, and Flip Turn. Couple that with its ability to break in and outside of Sun with moves like Hydro Steam, Flamethrower, and even Hurricane, I believe Walking Wake will truly be a force to be reckoned with. So up next, I really wanted a strong physical breaker. I wanted to take Ogerpon Hearthflame because that was a new mon and, new toy syndrome. But Ogerpon Hearthflame got taken the pick right before ours. I did look at, what do the strong Sun teams not really have? And that is another fire type, a fast fire type, and they usually don't have a poison type either. So the next Pokemon I picked up, and another strong special attacker, especially in the Sun, is Iron Moth. And Iron Moth, let me just say, that thing in Sun is no joke. It does 40% to a Walking Wake with Fire Blast. That calc is crazy. That is a 4 times resisted Fire Blast. In the Sun, it's doing 40%. That's just insane power. And I wanted to add that firepower alongside Walking Wake so that we could just break anything from the special side. Up next, we have two mons. I went out of order, so we're going to talk about Sandy Shocks first. It's a fast utility hazard setter, especially in the Sun. It's an electric ground type, which is a great typing. I always loved Stunfisk. It was one of my favorite low tier mons in older generations with Stealth Rock and Paralysis utility. And Sandy Shocks has spikes on top of that. And Sandy Shocks also has Volt Switch, which is very key with its base 101 speed stat, allowing it to switch out on base 100 such as Manaphy. Very good deal for a 12-pointer. Also continuing our trend of 12-point support Pokemon that benefit from some fun in the Sun, we grab Screamtail. A nice bulky support Pokemon with several utility options such as Wish, Encore, Baton Pass, Stealth Rock, Light Screen, and Reflect. Screamtail provided this team with some much needed options it didn't already have. Moving on, we have a Pokemon that was drafted in the main PPL League Round 1 last time. Hisuian Lilligant. And it wasn't even on a Sun team last time, and that team still made playoffs, so let's try it on Sun. Hisuian Lilligant locked up some much needed physical breaking power that this team previously didn't have. Its grass and fighting typing, alongside the move Ice Spinner for flying types, is very, very good at breaking. And one Victory Dance with the Chlorophyll up, and it's at Jover. Up next, no Sun team is complete without its Sunsetter, so we decided to pick up Torkoal. Although Ninetales was also an option we got with the DLC, we wanted another Stealth Rocker as well as a Rapid Spinner in Torkoal. It seemed like just what we needed to round out the Sun core, and we do have 2 more Sun mons, but let's talk about some Pokemon that do not quite benefit from the Sun. At this point in the draft, we wanted a Dark type and a Steel type, both of which were dropping fast. The original plan was to get King Gambit and another base 120 plus speed Pokemon. However, King Gambit was taken and there was no real other option but Weavile. Because Weavile, unlike King Gambit, can use knockoff. And it does have a base 125 speed stat, which means it's relatively fast, and it gets priority moves such as Ice Shard and Fake Out, I believe. Yeah, and then it also has fast Baton Pass for good momentum, and even though it doesn't benefit from the sun, it's still a strong breaker and well deserving of its spot on the team. So, as I previously alluded to, Steel types were going really fast. And so, the next Pokemon I picked was one of the few Steel types left on the board that did not feel bad to draft. And that was Copperajah. Copperajah also gained knockoff with the DLC, which was a big addition for it. And it also gained Heat Crash, which is a strong fire type move, so it can be boosted by the sun and Copperajah's heavy metal ability. Overall, we just wanted a bulky steel type with good coverage, and Copperajah was able to provide just that. And lastly, our final non-Terra Captain addition to the team is Charizard. So, we didn't have a flying type. We wanted a cheap flying type, and Charizard, it fit the bill, and with the solar power ability, it benefited from our sun strategy. So, Charizard fit just what I was doing perfectly, and provided a much needed ground immunity, which we'd otherwise have a pretty big weakness to. Alright, now for our Terra Captains. We were given 20 points to select 2 to 3 Terra Captains based on a separate Terra tier list. We are allowed to select one of the Pokemon's original 2 typings, as well as 2 additional typings to terrestrialize into. My first of 2 Terra Captains was the 15-point Terra Diancie, and I chose Water, Ground, and Fairy as the Terra types. Fairy and Ground is pretty terrifying coverage, all in all, because Ground is super effective against all the things that resist Fairy. So Steel and Poison, they're both weak to Ground, and Fairy pretty much hits everything else. So Terra Blast also gives Diancie the option of running physical ground coverage alongside Earth Power, which it already had. It does not have Earthquake. I also chose Water because, you know, it's a solid defensive typing. And then finally, our last Pokemon is the 5-point Terra Leavanny, with its Terra types being Grass, Fire, and Ghost. Leavanny benefits from our Sun strategy with its Chlorophyll ability. It also has Sticky Webs access, which makes our breakers a little bit better. And we have Ghost as one of the Terra types, so we can block any potential Rapid Spin. And then Fire and Grass, just because Grass is the better of the 2 stabs, I think, and Fire just to hit things harder in the sun. So that's our draft. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments down below. Let me know if you think the San Antonio Sparce will burn bright and blaze a path to victory. We will flame out and be forced to ride off into the sunset, and we will be back tomorrow for our Week 1 battle.